What if you were told that Adolf Hitler, one of the most infamous dictators in history, was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in 1939? Yes, you heard it right. The man synonymous with war and genocide was once considered for the highest honor in promoting peace. This unsettling truth sets the tone for a surprising journey through Hitler's life that we're about to embark on. Now let's dive into the life of this infamous dictator, starting from his early life. Born in Braunau am Inn, Austria in 1889, Adolf Hitler was the fourth of 6 children in his family. His father, Alois Hitler, was a stern and volatile man, often clashing with the young Adolf. His mother, Clara Hitler, on the other hand, was a gentle and caring woman who nurtured Adolf's early aspirations of becoming an artist. Hitler's childhood was far from idyllic. His father's harsh discipline and refusal to support his artistic dreams created a rift between them. Hitler struggled academically, often rebelling against the traditional educational system that he felt stifled his creativity. His school days were marked with poor grades, frequent clashes with teachers, and an eventual dropout at the age of 16. Yet amidst these struggles, Hitler nurtured a passion for German nationalism, an interest spurred by a popular history teacher who introduced him to the concept of racial purity and the superior Germanic race. This early exposure to nationalist ideologies would later become an integral part of Hitler's political platform. The young Hitler, however, was not all about politics. He had dreams of becoming a professional artist, a dream that was crushed when he was twice rejected from the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts. This rejection fueled Hitler's resentment towards the establishment, setting the stage for his future political career. Hitler's early failures and frustrations were just the beginning of his tumultuous journey. By the end of the First World War, Hitler had developed a strong hatred for the Treaty of Versailles and communism. This resentment became the fuel that ignited his political ambitions. Hitler, once a directionless young man, found a new purpose in his life: to restore Germany to its former glory. In the early 1920s, Hitler stumbled upon the German Workers' Party, a small political group that shared his nationalistic and anti-Semitic views. He joined this party and quickly began to make his mark. Hitler was an impressive speaker, and he captivated audiences with his fiery speeches, blaming Germany's downfall on communists and Jews. Under Hitler's influence, the German Workers' Party started to grow. His charismatic speeches drew large crowds, and the party's membership began to swell. Recognizing Hitler's potential, the party's leaders decided to appoint him as their chairman. It was at this point that the party was rebranded as the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or more commonly known as the Nazi Party. Hitler was not content with just being a party leader. He had bigger ambitions. He wanted to seize control of the German government. In 1923, he attempted an unsuccessful coup, known as the Beer Hall Putsch. Despite the failure, this event boosted Hitler's popularity and established him as a national figure. After serving a brief prison sentence, Hitler returned to his political activities with renewed vigor. He realized that to gain power, he had to play by the rules of democracy. Hitler started to campaign vigorously, using propaganda to spread his message. He promised the German people jobs, prosperity, and a return to their former glory. His strategies worked. The Nazi Party gained significant seats in the Reichstag, Germany's parliament. The economic crisis and political instability of the Weimar Republic played right into Hitler's hands. The conservative elites, fearing a communist uprising, made a pact with the devil. They thought they could control Hitler and use him to their advantage. They were wrong. Hitler's charismatic speeches and propaganda led to his appointment as German Chancellor in 1933. This marked the beginning of a dark chapter in human history, one that would leave an indelible mark on the world. With Hitler at its helm, the Nazi Party began implementing policies that would lead to World War II and the Holocaust. The air was thick with fear and uncertainty as the shadow of Hitler's reign stretched over Germany and far beyond its borders. Hitler's policies were not only ruthless, but also meticulously planned. One such policy was the Nuremberg Laws. Implemented in 1935, these laws stripped German Jews of their rights and freedoms, marking them as second-class citizens in their own country. It was a chilling prelude to the horror that was yet to come. Then, in 1938, the terrifying Night of Kristallnacht unfolded. Also known as the Night of Broken Glass, this was a coordinated attack on Jewish people and their properties. Synagogues were set ablaze, businesses were shattered, and lives were lost. The streets of Germany were littered with shards of glass, reflecting the shattered hopes of its Jewish citizens. The most horrifying aspect of Hitler's reign, however, was the final solution: This policy was nothing short of a systematic genocide, aiming to wipe out the entire Jewish population in Europe. Concentration camps and gas chambers became the grim symbols of this ruthless policy. Jews were rounded up in their thousands and sent to these camps, where they faced unspeakable horrors. The air was filled with the acrid stench of despair as millions of innocent lives were snuffed out. Under Hitler's rule, the world bore witness to the depths of human cruelty. The twisted ideologies of one man and his party led to the suffering and death of millions. The Reign of Terror was a stark reminder of what can happen when power falls into the wrong hands. Hitler's reign led to one of the darkest periods in human history, causing the death of 6 million Jews. As we delve deeper into this chilling chapter of history, let us remember the victims and vow to stand against such atrocities in the future. As the tide of World War II turned against the Axis powers, so did Hitler's fate. The once seemingly invincible force was starting to crumble from within. One of the key turning points was the failed invasion of Russia, a military campaign known as Operation Barbarossa. Launched in the summer of 1941, Hitler sought to conquer the Soviet Union in a swift and decisive blow. But the harsh Russian winter and fierce Soviet resistance proved to be insurmountable obstacles. This marked the first major military setback for Hitler, shaking the very foundations of his regime. Then came the Allied invasion of Normandy in June 1944, more commonly known as D-Day. This was a critical juncture in the war. The successful beach landing led by the Allies was a significant blow to Hitler's stronghold in Europe. It marked the beginning of a steady and irreversible retreat for the German forces, further hastening Hitler's downfall. By early 1945, Hitler's world was closing in on him. The Allies were advancing from the west, the Soviets were closing in from the east, and Germany was in ruins. Hitler, once the master of all he surveyed, was now confined to his bunker in Berlin, a shadow of his former self. As the reality of defeat became undeniable, Hitler chose to take his own life, rather than face capture. On April 30th, 1945, he committed suicide in his bunker alongside his newlywed wife, Eva Braun. Hitler's death marked the end of the Third Reich, a regime that had spread terror across Europe and cost the lives of millions. Hitler's reign of terror ended with his death, but the world would never forget the atrocities he committed. From his aggressive foreign policies to the implementation of the final solution, Hitler's actions left an indelible mark on human history, a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of hate, fear, and absolute power. The aftermath of Hitler's rule was catastrophic, with Germany left in ruins and millions dead. The echoes of the atrocities committed under Hitler's regime lingered for years, casting long shadows over the world. The immediate aftermath saw Germany divided into 4 zones of occupation, each controlled by one of the Allied powers: the United States, Great Britain, France, and the Soviet Union. This division marked the beginning of a tense period in history, known as the Cold War, and set the stage for the eventual establishment of 2 separate German states, a division that lasted until 1989. While the physical landscape of Germany underwent significant changes, the legal landscape was also transformed. The Nuremberg trials, held between 1945 and 1949, sought to bring those responsible for the Holocaust and other war crimes to justice. These trials were unprecedented, marking the first time that international law was used to prosecute individuals for crimes against humanity. Beyond the immediate legal and geopolitical repercussions, the impact of Hitler's policies continues to reverberate throughout the world. The Holocaust, one of the darkest chapters in human history, left a deep scar on the collective conscience of humanity. It prompted the international community to vow never again, and inspired the creation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. Moreover, Hitler's aggressive expansionist policies led to a re-evaluation of international relations and prompted the formation of the United Nations, a global organization dedicated to maintaining international peace and security. However, the most profound and lasting impact of Hitler's rule may well be the lessons it taught us about the dangers of hate, prejudice, and intolerance. Hitler's life serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of hate and intolerance. His story, as unsettling as it is, provides a cautionary tale that continues to resonate in our collective memory, reminding us of the importance of standing up against bigotry and hatred in all its forms.